Objection!
He's back. Okay, right. Oh no, I've removed my stream manager from my tabs. I should probably put that back. Alright, we're fine. Sweet. Good. Right. How do you say... now then, Mr. Starbuck, do you think you can keep your feet planted on the ground? Okay, yeah, on the ground. Yes, I apologize for losing control. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Not that. Anything but that. What is going on? This isn't the Mr. Starbuck I know. Ooh. It appears Space Boy is prone to deception. Witness. Yes? I thought your story odd, but perhaps the inconsistencies can be explained as the result of a medical side effect. Prosecutor Blackwell, Quill, please don't talk about that. What are you talking about, Prosecutor Blackwell? Didn't I already state that Space Boy is ironically terrified of going into space? That's why he took some precautions just before the launch. For you see, traces of this anti-anxiety drug were found in his system. Oh, since things are about to nosedive. You got it all wrong. I told him during the investigation too. I don't know anything about any drugs. I never took any medication, I swear. It was found in his system, but he doesn't remember taking it? How could that be? Somebody must have slipped them to me. But I guess maybe that's why I don't remember, because of the side effects. Yeah, that's why I don't remember much about what really happened. Oh dear. What a train wreck. We can't get any useful testimony. We can't get any useful testimony out of him if he doesn't remember anything. Well, this certainly explains why his testimony kept changing. Ugh, why didn't he just tell me he couldn't remember? Guess he didn't want anybody to find out he was terrified of going into space. Well, his career is over. Well and truly over. Maybe I really did do it? Which brings us to the answer of our original question, of how the witness climbed down the ladder with a dead body. It does? So what is it? A dead man feels no pain and makes no complaints, Justice Donor. So he just threw him. It is exactly as I said. So the body was simply dropped down from the top of the ladder. Alright, okay. Oh my, I see. Then the defendant could climb down with his free hand. Excuse me. Drop the body down? Who would do such a disrespectful thing? Besides, dropping the body down would leave marks on the body itself. It would. If you were not wearing a spacesuit, is that what they're gonna argue? So you are capable of quick thinking. Yes, you are correct. Really? Oh, Huh? What's this? It's the oxygen tank from the victim's spacesuit. It's ruptured, and I'm sure you can figure out why. You can't be implying it ruptured when the defendant dropped the victim's body. I am, for they fracture easily when struck. Even if that's true, the tank's explosion and shrapnel would leave marks on the body. Yet according to the autopsy report, the only knife wound was found in the victim's body. You're clearly grasping at straws with this line of reasoning. A spacesuit isn't heavy for the sake of being heavy, Justice Dono. It includes the latest technological devices and is made of the fabric of tomorrow. This fabric is made to protect astronauts from the dangers of space. So falling a few Earth yards would hardly leave a mark on the wearer.
Objection!
Then shouldn't it be impossible to stab someone through it as well? It should, and yet through sheer coincidence. The knife slipped through a weak spot in the suit's structure and found its way to the target. What are the chances? You forget that our killer is an astronaut himself with knowledge of how the suits work. It's got me there. Now my argument has been proven. Spaceboy killed the victim in the rocket and then dropped his body from the upper level. After climbing down, he shouldered the body and made sure the camera recorded them. There's no room for debate about these facts. It is clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terran. Here, the report regarding the astronauts' oxygen tanks. Consider it my send-off gift. Feel free to use it as payment to cross the river Styx. Right. The victim's tank was ruptured with 0% left. The defendant had 80%. Remaining oxygen is displayed on the left shoulder. And the remaining oxygen was 0. The tank belonged to Starbuck, who claims to have carried the victim, said it was 80% full. Tanks were functioning properly at the time. Hey Sophie, how you doing? I saw you were playing Minecraft earlier on Discord. How was that going? Wait. Left shoulder. Okay, so their left shoulder. We can't see what his tank was in that picture. And where's the other? His just says 50. So something is wrong there. Doing good. Minecraft is going well. How was Law Game? Law Game is going well. The start of the new episode. We've started a new chapter, new case, and we've gone straight into the trial section of things rather than doing the investigation, talking to people bit. This guy died. He got stabbed with a stabby knife, like so. It is purported that this guy did it. Of course, he didn't do it. We just need to prove that he didn't. Loads of details, such as there was a bomb that went off. There's a bomb that went off in the launch pad because they basically all work at NASA or Space Center. And when a rocket was about to launch in the launch pad, a bomb went off. They think he set the bomb off. And yeah, a bunch of different details. But yeah, Law Game is going well. This report is pretty detailed, 80% full, yada yada yada. We read that. I'm done for. I'm going to prison instead of space. Space boy. Yes? Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful, even when viewed through bars. You mean the stars are seen from prison? That's right. Your cell will be on your spaceship. Picture the view through the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all time. That's not a half-bad thought. Mr. Starbuck? Prosecutor Blackwell got him good. Spaceship prison cell. Fly me, my guilt, and my despair into the deepest, darkest space. And then let's get sucked into a black hole together. What is going on with this clown shoes court? Mr. Starbuck, you can't give up hope. Oh, yes, Apollo? Clay really looked up to you. He said you were an incredible man. He said you'd never give up your dreams and passion for space, no matter the situation. He said that? So don't give up now and help me prove your innocence. For the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you, Clay Terran. For Clay... You're wasting your breath. He's powering up. He's powering up. Thank you, Apollo. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. Mr. Starbuck, I'm fine now. Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission. Right, we'll both be fine. I'll prove your innocence, you'll see. And after that, we'll get you back into space. I'm on fire! I am Solomon Starbuck, astronaut, a cosmic hero chosen by the universe itself. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Balderdash. The sun, the moon, all of space is calling me. Solomon Soul Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is going on? Please tell me he's actually flying. Okay. No, he just kind of went on his tippy toes. Okay. Well, I feel like I've witnessed an actual rocket launch. Apollo, you did it! You broke Prosecutor Blackwell's grip over Mr. Starbuck. I can't take the credit. It was all Mr. Starbuck. He poured himself through. If you simpletons are done massaging another one's egos, no matter how positive your mood, my advantage remains unshakable. I have but to wait for the final guilty verdict. Isn't that right, your boldness? Gah, I can't let up now. I have to stop Blackwell. I have to see this through. Mr. Starbuck just has to make it back into space. Ooh, best friend image. I won't allow Clay's dream to remain unfulfilled. I've got to destroy Blackwell's argument somehow. Think, Justice, think. If the only people at Launchpad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck, and if Clay was already dead by the time this footage was taken, then the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter Blackwell's argument is if I can prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge. In which case, I should be able to find some contradiction in the evidence itself. Now, let's see. About this data that we just received. This supposedly proves that Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in Launchpad 1. But if I'm going to prove that false, then there must be something I can use here. I think I know where we're going with this, and I just pointed it out.
Objection!
So, to go over it again. Oof. Excuse me. So this is the report, right? The victim's tank was ruptured with 0% left. The defendant, aka Solomon, his had 80%. Remaining oxygen is displayed on the left shoulder. But in this picture here, or this footage, it's purported that Solomon is the one carrying a dead Clay. And what's interesting is that in both cases, in this photo and in this photo, the value on his tank is obscured from view, but we can clearly see Solomon's one, and it says 50, not 80, which I think is what we're about to pick up on right now. Blackwell, you seem to be in quite a hurry to rush the verdict, but about this oxygen tank data you submitted just now, it says that Mr. Starbuck's tank had 80% remaining, while Mr. Terran's had 0. Do you stand by the accuracy of this report? Of course. Then I guess it simply means that it's faulty, as evidence goes. You will explain what you mean, Justice Donor. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of this case. Take a look at where the detailed description is, and you'll see what I mean. I hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice. This one. Because it says 50 instead of 80.
Take that!
And how does this evidence present a contradiction? Oh, the problem is this part here. Oh, I'm pointing to 50. Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank as he carries Mr. Terran. It appears to say 50. But according to the data, it's apparently meant to be 80. The oxygen in the tank increased? I see your honor finds it as strange as I do. It's bad enough that there is a contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond the logical. What's going on here? I too find it odd that the oxygen remaining has increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. But what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it is the defendant carrying the victim's corpse. I'm going to bet you don't get more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining shouldn't increase, just as your rations don't increase. Therefore, this new information is critical. We can't overlook it. In that case, do you have an answer to this riddle of the mysteriously increasing oxygen? You better not disappoint, or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Come on, you literally can't do that. I suppose it could be a simple malfunction. No! If the data says 80, then it must show 80 on the picture, no? I don't think malfunctions just happen like that. Mr. Justice, if you cannot provide an adequate counter-argument to this point, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to an end. So, do you think you can explain why the remaining oxygen level increased? The thing to do at a time like this is to turn my thinking around. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried Clay. Turn it around. Clay carried Solomon. Clay carried Starbuck. So this man with the 50 on his tank ought to be Mr. Starbuck, but if anything, the display on his oxygen tank should have shown 80. This is a clear contradiction. So what I should be asking is not why did the oxygen level increase, but what had to have happened to make it look like it increased? Am I making some kind of mistake in my base assumptions here? Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready to answer. I'm not confident in my answer, but I'm pretty sure it is the other way around. So what have we got here? That tanks were damaged, the victim was carrying the defendant, they were going the other way. What? None of the two, the top one and the bottom one the top one makes no sense. The third one, kind of plausible, but the obvious one is the victim was carrying the defendant. What if it was the other way round? The other way round? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice? As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on in this footage, but it turns out this is where our base assumptions went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran, but it was the other way round. It wasn't Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran at all. It was Mr. Terran who was helping Mr. Starbuck to the boarding lounge. Excuse me. Order! Order! Mr. Justice, you mean to tell me that the person on the right in this image is the victim, Clay Terran? It's the only way the riddle of the increase in oxygen level can be solved, Your Honor. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was at 50%, and when the victim was found in the boarding lounge, his tank was 0. That's right! That's right! There's nothing contradictory about the oxygen level decreasing. This means Mr. Terran was alive as they made their escape to the lounge.
Silence.
Oh, here we go. How short your memory is. Have you forgotten what you yourself proposed? Even if the victim was alive at this point in time. How did he descend the ladder with his arms full?
Objection.
Prosecutor Blackwell, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me. It's true that we don't know how they got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigating. But we have proven that Mr. Terran was alive when he reached the boarding lounge. This fact alone shatters your claims and opens up the possibility that the victim could have been killed by a third party. Oh, there we go. Critical hit. There were two people who claimed to be first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see, the two people were Detective Candace Arm and Jerichords, right? We only have a picture of Candace Arm because we've met her before. In fact, is she even on the list of... Yeah, there we go. You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. Well, between Candace Arm and Jerichords, it's probably Jerichords because Candace Arm shows up dead right about now. It seems we'll have to hear the testimony of these first two people on the scene. Score. Come to think of it, Detective Arm should be here in court right now. Bailiff, could you please show Detective Arm to the stand? Hold it. Here we go. I have an announcement, everyone. What's the meaning of this? We're in the middle of a trial here. Please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but it's about to explode. Explode? There we go. Right now, she's already dead, Candace Arm. A bomb? How? Now? Everybody, actually no, right now she's not already dead? Oh no, everybody's panicking.
Silence.
Yeah, so that's why Blackwell wasn't the prosecutor on the first case, because what happened to him? Actually, that's a good question. Headless chickens with a death wish. The lot of you, calm yourselves or else. Come on, Apollo, let's get out of here. But what about Mr. Starbuck's dream? And who will carry out Clay's final wish? I don't care what happens to me. I'm not letting some bomb blow the truth up to get forever. I refuse to let things end here. Apollo, this is no time to be dramatic. If we don't get out of here now, we're gonna die. Come on, this way. Hey, ouch, let me go. Apollo! Juniper? She hasn't evacuated yet? Juniper, are you alright? Apollo, no, not that way. So he got himself caught in the explosion, which is why he ends up being more fucked than he was just now. Like bandages around his arms and everything. And he ends up donning the coat too. To be continued. There we go. Right. So you know what the worst part about coming back from a long break and then coming back on is that, like, I come back on and then I'm like, okay, cool, time to go. And then I look over to Twitch and it's like, ad starts in 5 minutes. And I'm like, for fuck's sake. But I'll keep going until that happens. In fact, I might snooze it. Yeah. Sweet. All right. So in the middle of. Wait, I've rechanged point of views. In the middle of the Space Center bombing trial, we had another bombing incident. This one destroyed courtroom number 4. Furthermore, Apollo suffered massive injuries from being there when the bomb went off, because he went back there to save Juniper. So let's make sure my audio is fine. I think it should be. Unfortunately, Juniper was fingered as the that's crazy wording, as the courtroom bomber. So yeah, this is recapping the events of the first case. Athena and I knew she had to be innocent, so we took her case on. We managed to clear Miss Wood's name. But Apollo sustained further injuries when he was attacked by Ted Tonade. Apollo was a tough guy, but this is taking its toll on him. Yeah, poor guy, being attacked by Tonade like that on top of all of his other injuries. Apollo was resting at the nearby Hickfield Clinic. I've had some experience with that place myself. What an awful turn of events. I never thought he'd land in a hospital of all places. So this is still not present day. This is still not present day. I think that scene where Apollo walks out on the guys still hasn't happened yet, technically. You must miss him too, huh? Now that you don't have anybody to tease. Don't worry, he's young. He'll heal quickly and be back before you know it. It's been a while since I last saw Trucy look so down. We've won the court case, yet nobody feels so much like celebrating. Alright, enough of this, people! This is no time to be moping around. Now dry those eyes, both of you. You're the only one who's crying, Athena. Technicalities. Look, we have work to do. We have to take over. Take over what exactly? Apollo's Space Center case, of course. As no verdict's been reached, there's still a chance. I agree with Athena. We should pick up Mr. Starbuck's defense. We have to avenge our fallen comrade, right, Daddy? Apollo isn't exactly fallen. He's still alive, you know. Good. Now that's settled, let's get going. Come on, we've got to run. Wait, right now? We better not be running the whole way. There she goes. I better go catch up. Can you take care of the office, Trucy? Sure thing, Dad. Let's be careful out there. In the meantime, I'm going to bake some cookies and fill up my magic panties for you is a crazy sentence for me to say. Trucy seems to be feeling a little bit better. I can always count on Athena to perk up everybody with her enthusiasm. Oh, she's back. Don't mind me, just forgot a few things. Wallet, phone, the documents, my bag. Sounds more like you forgot everything. I can always count on you for that too. Alright, you two, let's be careful out there. So our client is one Solomon... Actually, what have I got already? He's currently in hospital. Right. So our client is one Solomon Starbuck. He's so famous, even I've heard of him. That's right. He's a super famous astronaut who works at the Cosmos Space Center. He was actually up in outer space 7 years ago. You seem to know quite a bit about him. Now I'm excited to meet the man. Oh, there's one thing I've got to do actually. Hold on. Where is... Okay. Yeah. Wow, that was the longest sigh I've ever heard. Apollo told me all about you. You're Phoenix Wright, Apollo's mentor, right? Yes, that's right. Mentor has a nice ring to it. Don't worry about a thing, Mr. Starbuck. Mr. Wright and I have got you covered. And you're the new kid that Apollo told me about. Wait, don't I know you from somewhere? Huh? You mean other than at your trial? I don't think so. I guess so. My mistake. My memory isn't what it used to be. My mind and body are kaput. Same goes for my life. I mean, I'm so astronomically unlucky that I had a bomb go off in the middle of my trial. Trying to defend me would be like trying to enter the stratosphere without a spacecraft. Yikes, he's seriously got to stop depressing himself. Cheer up, Mr. Starbuck. Besides, that thing you said about entering the stratosphere, that just means we'd shine like shooting stars, right? Like shooting stars, huh? You know, you're right. Why didn't I think of that? After all, that's where we were all put on this earth to do, right? To shine like stars. Guess I shouldn't mention the fact that shooting stars burn out in a flash. Ah, yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1, to the stratosphere and beyond. Yeah, I feel alive now. You can go ahead and ask me anything you want. Is that really all it takes? Well, I'm now being called for ads, so now I've got to take a proper break. Okay. So, the case. So, you have no memory at all of the incident. I'm so ashamed. Oh, I just realized. My memory of the time is as black and clouded as a dark nebula. I just realized something about its design. Actually, I could probably bring it up here. Oh, maybe not really. Okay. Still, it's strange you don't remember a thing. Are you sure you didn't take one of those anti-anxiety pills like they said at the trial? His hair is meant to be a rocket. His hair is meant to be shaped like a rocket. It just occurred to me. It is true I developed a fear of space because of what happened 7 years ago. And I was taking medication secretly every now and again when my anxiety got bad. Having a fear of space is not something an astronaut can brag about, you know? Oh, so the so-called Hat 1 miracle? That must have been a terrifying experience. But I'm still an astronaut at heart, come what may. I would never take drugs that might impede my performance just before a launch. That launch meant everything to me. That's more certain than the theory of relativity. He seemed like a completely different person now. This is the face of the astronaut I know. But the tranquilizers were found in your system. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I don't know why. I'm done for. If you didn't take them, then maybe somebody slipped them to you. Exactly. That's what I thought. It must have been the real culprit. My medication was in my locker. Anybody could have gotten their hands on it. Maybe the real culprit also planted the detonator switch in your pocket too. Yeah, that's got to be it. I've been framed. I'll say, they even managed to plant your prints on the switch before slipping it in. It's a real possibility. Do you remember anything else that might be relevant? Anything at all, no matter how small. Like about the murder weapon, for example. That knife. I think it came from one of the Space Center's utility kits. Utility kits? Yeah, staff who work on machinery a lot are given these special toolkits to use. All the technicians have them, so I doubt you could prove whose knife it is. Okay. As I recall, your last trip to space was 7 years ago, right? That's right, it was a pretty rough experience. During that mission, we had all kinds of problems with the craft. You did? What kind of problems? Power failure, oxygen leakage, busted radio, cracked windows, loose control column. The heat shield came off as we were entering the atmosphere. I thought I was a goner. But I managed to make it somehow with the popsicles and ice packs from the freezer. No wonder they dubbed that the Hat 1 miracle. It's a miracle you made it back. Space is a boundless place. That's why it continues to capture people's imaginations. But the vastness of space shows us how insignificant we are in the scheme of things. The darkness just goes on and on forever and ever without end. There was nobody else there. Nobody was going to come save me. I was all alone. All alone, with nothing to listen to but the sound of my own breathing and heartbeat. I kept scrambling to make repairs, but I couldn't keep my hands from shaking. An experience like that would make anybody afraid to go up in space. With the experience you had, weren't you dreading this mission? What? No way. Of course not. Even now I want to go up into space so bad I can barely stand it. I want to shake off the Earth's gravity at escape velocity and spin around weightless. But you have to admit, it was pretty harrowing. Weren't you even a tiny bit afraid? I was afraid, of course I was. Still am. But space is a man's final frontier, an unknown world. The cosmic truth is out there waiting for us somewhere. The cosmic truth, huh? I guess there are a lot of people looking for the truth in every walk of life. No matter how afraid I am, I'm sure I can manage. If I give it to my fear, I'll never find the truth. As long as I don't give up, I can keep up the fight. One thing's for sure, Mr. Starbuck's passion for space is undeniably the real deal. The victim, Clay Terran, he was kind of like your protege, wasn't he? Well, it wasn't a big exaggerated deal like that, but Clay did think of me as his mentor. The mentor and the protege. What a combination there must have been. With his encouragement, I knew I could get over my fear and go back into space. But now, Clay must have been very encouraging, huh? Yeah, it's funny really. Whenever I'd hear him shout, "You're fine," I always got the feeling everything really was gonna be just fine. You're fine? Apollo says I'm fine and you're fine all of the time too. And I always feel encouraged too, whenever I hear him shout it. Yeah, Clay and Apollo were best buds. They used to come visit the Space Center a lot ever since they were high school kids. One day out of the blue, Clay even told me he wanted to be my protege. Those two hung around the Space Center so much, they were like part of the staff. One time during Zero-G training, I started to panic a little bit, and the two of them took turns shouting, "You're fine," over the radio. It was a simple thing, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. So, "I'm fine and you're fine" were like Apollo and Clay's secret phrases, huh? I wish I could ask Apollo more about Clay and their relationship now. Speaking of Clay, how do you suppose he climbed down the ladder with you over his shoulder? Sorry, but I can't even begin to imagine. From the freedom of space to the walls of a cell. But that prosecutor said the dark night sky isn't half bad through barred windows. You're fine, Solomon. You're fine. Solomon Soul Starbuck is fine. Everything's gonna be alright. And Athena Sykes is fine too. Come on, Mr. Wright, you say it as well. Do I really have to? Phoenix Wright is fine. I can't hear you. Phoenix Wright is fine. We'll get you back into space yet, Mr. Starbuck. Believe in your own innocence and have faith in us. Apollo believed in you wholeheartedly, and that's good enough for me. I believe in you too. Thank you. Thank you, both of you. I'll put my faith in you. And I vow to make it back into space. All I need first is a not guilty verdict. It sure feels nice to reassure ourselves every now and then that we're all fine. Okay, Mr. Wright. Let's get our investigation of the Space Center started. Pronto. Good idea. Let's go. Okay. Wow, I was wondering what kind of place this Space Center would be. It's almost like an amusement park of the future. Yeah, did you know they even let the public see their rockets up close? This reminds me of that one place in Florida. Forget what it's called. In Cape Canaveral. Yeah, there it is. Kennedy Space Center. Yeah. That's what this place is giving me. The Space Center in Cape Canaveral. Look how brightly the GIAXA logo shines in the sunlight above the entryway. Oh, that arrow is a A. Okay, I didn't realize. That's a good design, actually. I'm not gonna lie. I really dig the stars and rocket motif got going. GIAXA, huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Yeah, but why the strange acronym? I mean, what is GIA supposed to stand for? Galaxy? I think so. I think galaxy is spelt with a GIA sound rather than a GA sound. If that were it, then the whole thing would be something like Galaxy Exploration Agency. Not bad. What does NASA actually stand for? I don't actually fucking know. My guess is like North American Space Agency? National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Okay, cool. Got it. Which, if you ask me, I'd have abbreviated it to GAXA or even Gaia. I guess so. That is just a Japanese English word strangeness pun thing going on with the names. Don't worry about it. Oh, I know. Maybe the person who came up with the name just really likes the letter Y. This exchange is beginning to feel oddly like deja vu. Anyway. Yeah. Trials and Tribulations? Or Justice for All? I think we had a similar conversation. Anyway, this place is more than just a research facility. It's also a tourist attraction. Tourist attraction? Don't make me laugh. It's a monument to the human race. Galactic scooter, full speed ahead. Yikes, who's this geezer and what's he want? Look upon me and look well. Behold the great power of space science. Pardon me, but you are... My glorious name is Yuri Cosmos. I am the director of the Cosmos Space Center. The center of the cosmos. Boss, That was pretty grown introducing. If this person is the Space Center's director, then that means... Oh, so you were one of the first to discover Clay's body, weren't you? Yeah, two of them, Candace Arm and the director, yeah. That's correct. I was honored to be the I was honored to be the very first man in all of space and time to discover the body. But this talk of the incident, are you by any chance the space police? You can't tack the word space onto just any old thing, you know. We're Mr. Starbuck's lawyers. We're here to investigate his case. Oh, and we're Earth lawyers, by the way. Ah, I see. Yes, I've heard about you. In that case, by my esteemed privilege, I grant you permission to investigate. I trust you are appropriately grateful. Now go ahead, have at it. I can already tell it's going to be nothing but trouble. Don't let him hear you say that or you'll see what trouble really is. Let's just be professional and ask him about when he found the body, okay? So, as director, what do you do here at the Space Center specifically? Defend peace across the galaxy and promote space development in this country. No matter what obstacles stand in our way, we keep going for the sake of mankind. I want to see his full thingy. Yeah, he's just a poster man for like patriotism. Right. I believe I used the word specifically in my question. Attention all personnel, to your break stations, prepare for break. Oh, I get it. You just wander around and tell people what to do in a self-important manner. That is exactly right. Because I am an important man, my manner is important. Mr. Wright, this man doesn't get sarcasm. Well, there's bound to be some people like that here in the boundlessness of space. What's that? You want to know what it is that makes me important specifically? Very well, I will tell you. I was the central figure of the Hat 1 project. You may proceed to be appropriately impressed. Now go ahead, have at it. I might be more impressed if I knew what he did for it, specifically. Could you tell us what you know about the incident from the other day? I refuse. What? Explaining is a job for common folk, not the director of the center of the cosmos. My testimony, which will go down in space history, will be heard in the courtroom. What? So does that mean you'll be taking a stand tomorrow? That is correct. I will be the most glorious witness in the history of mankind. I'm not sure if he really understands what being a witness is all about. Looks like Director Cosmos is the type that only talks about what he wants to talk about. Then let's at least try to ask him about the things he might be willing to open up about. The Hat 1 was a rocket that was launched into space 7 years ago, correct? And despite numerous problems, it somehow made its way back home? I suppose it is part of my job to educate ignorant young folk like you. Very well, I will impart to you the complete story of the Hat 1 project. Oh, thank you very much. Hat 1's noble mission was to collect samples from an asteroid, and Mr. Starbuck was the pilot for that flight. Eventually, the Hat 1 reached its planned orbit, from where it launched the Hope probe towards the asteroid belt. From there, the Hope probe began its long, lonely journey into the far reaches of space. Then, after a terrifying struggle, the Hat 1 returned safely to Earth. That struggle was when the incident known as the Hat 1 miracle occurred, right? Correct. And it truly was a miracle. Of course, Of course, I can't see the words against the background. Of course, they just had to turn the ordeal into a movie. As for the Hope probe, it did eventually arrive safely at its destination. It obtained a few samples from the asteroid and returned to Earth but a few days ago. And so what kind of samples are they? What's in them? The samples are scheduled for analysis in the near future. We haven't had the time since they just came back the day before Terran's murder. Regrettably, we've had no time to inspect the samples due to everything that has occurred. But this puts our space development program ahead of other countries by several years. That's quite impressive. I guess this guy isn't just a loudmouth braggart after all. In the golden age of space development, our predecessors were successful in bringing a moon rock back. That is the greatest achievement in the history of the Space Center. The public fell in love with space and all of its glorious potential. A moon rock, huh? I remember that being big. Our endeavors with the moon rock live on in our work with those asteroid samples. I want to bestow new hopes and dreams for the future upon mankind once again. That is my mission, as the man who stands at the center of the cosmos. I hear there's lots of research into moon rocks and stardust from asteroids these days. They say the results could potentially have a huge impact on all of civilization. It's like we're in a new space race with every other country out there. What? Bite your tongue. It's not for anything so base as money or politics. It's all for the brilliant future that awaits mankind, and all for my illustrious mission. With the recent budget cuts, my staff tells me finances are tight, but I won't hear it. I guess even a space program has to watch its budget. By the way, you all seem awfully knowledgeable about this kind of thing, Athena. Huh? Oh, well, I thought I'd better brush up for the case. Is that so? Well, I will be on my way. As you can see, I'm a very busy and very important man. Galactic Scooter, fire up the main engine, max battle speed, and engage! And he's gone. Skirt, skirt. I guess we better get going too. Yeah, you bet. Let's make it so. Alright, so I guess we're moving.